Hey, I just wanted to give a little rundown of something I find really handy and interesting, and my thoughts on ways to accomplish this. So maybe you've been in the situation where, or maybe you're a small musician, you like bringing your little Fishman amp or other comparable little powered speaker around, but occasionally you have another musician or two, and then you have to swap to maybe a different speaker, and you have to swap to a uh, you know, at least a small mixer of some sort. This is probably along the lines of some of what you would want if you were going to have one or two other musicians, um, and that's quite a bit more cumbersome and a lot more to manage than just your Fishman with its couple knobs and its couple inputs. Um, so I kind of wanted to find a middle ground, and one thing you could do is if you just had a couple vocalists, you could use a combiner and just go into the one channel, and then now you have two vocals, which, is totally a reasonable solution depending on what you're doing, assuming you have similar microphones and the singers themselves are similar in volume and whatever. Um, but what I've decided is the middle ground that I like probably most of the time is using something like this. This is a Rolls More Mics, and it's essentially a 3-channel microphone mixer with no real bells or whistles. It's just got volume control for each, and it's got phantom power and a low cut for each as well. Um, and I find that this is plenty of control. It's nice that the Fishman has its own reverb and a little bit of EQ control, so you can kind of EQ them together and add reverb to them. If you have 2 or 3 mics, they're probably gonna all want a similar amount of reverb if they're all vocals, and so that's worked out well for me and hasn't been an issue or a limitation. And then in addition to that, if you want multiple instruments, this is the Behringer Micromix, and it's essentially the same thing but for 1/4 inch. Instrument inputs, line inputs, and it's got 4 in and 1 out. And so with these two combined, you have the ability to have up to 3 microphones and up to 4 instruments for a total of 7 channels. And I think that that's pretty handy. If you have an acoustic duo or something, now all you have to bring is this and this, instead of having to swap that out for some other powered speaker or PA system and bringing this. I mean, come on, it's a pretty big difference. And also, maybe there's a mic stand table that could accommodate this, but that's pretty bulky to have on stage and on your microphone stand, and makes it pretty unstable. And so you'd maybe ideally want a whole separate table next to you, and then that gets to be a lot. But this just sits on your little mic stand table. You can control everything from here. You could even Velcro them together so they're really sturdy in place. There's still enough room on your mic stand for a drink or your phone or whatever. And add to that, maybe everyone in your small band sings. Maybe you got a whole small chorus going on, I don't know. But you could take this combiner, you could take 2 of these and combine for a total of 6 microphones if you really wanted to get crazy. Just to clarify, 2 of these going out and into this, so you still have full microphone mixing capabilities from these guys going into your Fishman. And I mean, I am in a small band that has 4 vocalists, so I would theoretically probably use a combiner into this, but we could do 2 of them. I don't know. That's getting kind of crazy at that point, but you could do it. It could be done. It could be scalable, and it could be cool. Yeah, the only thing that's a little bit annoying about this setup is it does require 2 power supplies. But if you just have some sort of a power strip that can accommodate 2 wall plugs like this, spacing on this one happens to be perfect for these particular plugs, then it's not that big of a deal either. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I think it's pretty handy and pretty useful. Oh yeah, as far as price, this thing is a little bit on the expensive side. It's a little over $100, maybe about $110. And this guy's like $22 or $23 at the time of making this video. So it's definitely less expensive and a much smaller footprint than most small mixers, and honestly, you get more channels out of it. And if you're considering anything like this at all, then the fact that you don't have EQ and effects on this is probably fine. Again, I think this really pairs well with the Fishman or any other speaker that has some of its own built-in effects and EQ control capabilities, per channel. You can kind of EQ things together and add effects in a sweeping way, and that works well for me for small gigs like this. Anyway, let me know what you think and if this was helpful, and yeah, thank you.